both sides. So that first one where the knees are bent, if you do that one, you're going to do one side and then turn your body around to the other side. So I'm just going to demonstrate here for you the full bridge. Okay? So very important, I'm going to support her head. I want her to feel confident to lay back, number one. Also, if she's completely relaxed already and is like half passed out and I let her go and don't hold her head, she will go plonk and slam her head on the mat. Okay. So some people won't lay down at all if you don't support their head. Some people will throw their head on the ground and go smash. So I'm going to have my other hand on her chest. I'm going to ask her to please extend her legs forward. Some people can lay back comfortably with the legs bent like that, but it's a little more gentle to have the legs extended. I'll just ask you please extend the back over. Once she comes all the way down, this hand is going to seamlessly transition to make a seatbelt. Again, not so important here in the full bridge to make that seatbelt. She's not really going anywhere. But in that half bridge where we have a little bit of a slope, especially if the client is bigger, they may have that sense that they're going to roll. So this hand will scoop over and create a little bit of a seatbelt. Again, that's a mother energy, giving a little support. Depending on their flexibility, so for Val, it's probably comfortable for her, for me to let go of the head and let her head lay down. For people with more neck issues, okay, they may not want to let the head lay all the way down. So I have a couple options. I could keep my hands supporting the head. I could have one of my cushions handy so that I can bring a cushion under the head to give her a little more support. Or sometimes if I'm very clever, I can scoot my leg out a little more and kind of cheat and use the leg under the head. Okay? So for Val, I'm just going to let her relax. That's comfortable for you? So also, she's very slender, right? So you can see her whole body and her arms fit very easily here, right, on my thighs. For most people, you're going to need to make a little more space. So I'm going to just move this arm out of the way. And if I want her to feel centered, I can actually let both arms open up. Okay? So now she's got this opportunity to do some nice deep breathing, to really bring the breath up across her chest. Ribs rise and fall. And this is very similar to when we do those poses over the bolster, right, which I teach in the yin yoga, and some of you have probably experienced in yoga classes. If you haven't, please go home and do this for yourself. If you don't have the fancy yoga bolster and you don't want to buy one from Mindy here in the store, you can use a sofa cushion, you can use a firm blanket that you fold up, anything to create a support like this. Really therapeutic for the back to lay over top of something like this and to breathe, because we do so much forward bending, right? We talked about how much we tend to get that little slouch. If we can lay in a position where we get to back bend, it's so therapeutic for the body. Okay? So I can encourage her to breathe. I might bring my hands here to encourage the breathing. I might do some Reiki, right, and just let her enjoy resting here for a few minutes. It's perfectly safe to be here for 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay? Can also do a little bit of rocking, scooping around the body, and again just rocking a little bit from my belly, massage to the sides of the ribs. Lots of options here. Again, we could stay here a lot longer for the sake of time in the demo. I'm going to come back out. So I'll bring her arms around. So I'm going to use one of the arms. I'm going to use the head, okay, to help bring her back up. I'm going to start to sit her back up, and I'm also going to use my leg. See that move with my leg? That's going to help her a lot to get up. If you have someone who's very big, they're probably going to have to help you a little bit, but when you start to create that intention of the movement, they're going to get the message, and they're going to help you a little bit with that sit-up. But use your leg a little bit. If you use the leg, it really helps them a lot, especially if they've been laying there a long time, to be able to sit up. Okay? And then we're going to skip down to the bottom of the page there, the bottom of page 45, the full forward fold. So since we just did that big back bend, we're going to go right into the forward bend, and then we'll do that twist afterwards. Okay? Go ahead and come right into your forward bend. So the Paschimottanasana, right, a very common yoga posture here. Okay, two very wonderful ways that you can assist this. Okay, this is one of the ones I talked about a little bit yesterday about the difference between the force and the gravity. And we talked about, right, the difference between force and gravity in terms of like why waste our energy doing everything from our strength, right, when we can do it from our weight. But another important thing to note, especially with posture like this, because her low back is exposed, this is a pose where yoga teachers hurt their students sometimes because they're like, I'm going to make you lay flat because that's going to be awesome. It's great when you touch your toes, right? And they get caught up, that's the ego, right? Yeah. So that's the ego that says it's better for Val to touch her toes or to lay her stomach flat on her legs than it is for her to be where she is. And if I can just get her there, that's going to be great, okay? We want to listen, okay? So she's got a fairly reasonable forward bend to start with, right? But I don't want to come in here and push and force. That's got a whole different energy if I'm pushing than when I'm leaning. Okay, so all this is very gravity oriented. So where you see Mukti in that illustration, very gravity oriented position. I'm coming again a little ballerina toed here, right up against her hips so she feels my feet here. I'm coming a little knock knee, she feels my ankles. Okay, so I'm just leaning into her. And that's where I'm starting the weight. So she gets that weight nice and low down in her back. Right, I'm encouraging her to bend from the hips here. And then I'm adding the hands just above that. I'm just slowly leaning into it, okay? Again, I'm not falling, right? I'm just sinking, okay? Have I seen, the yoga pictures of extreme yogis like Sharon Gannon and David Life, doing arm balances on the back of each other while they're in this pose? Yes, but would I recommend doing that with your clients? No, okay? So I'm just rocking the weight in equally into my shins and into my hands. And then I can take a few breaths. And again, listening for that echo, you can see she already has dropped a little bit. Right. After she takes a few breaths, she might drop a little deeper. Okay. Second really wonderful way to assist this same posture is the more partner yoga style way. Also very much gravity. Okay. It's just for me to sit back to back with the receiver, and then slowly lay down. Okay, so like I'm in a beach chair or a recliner. Again, she gets that benefit of feeling the heat of my body and feeling that weight, but it's very safe, even if I'm larger than the receiver. Very safe just to lay here and let them breathe. And I might encourage her to take some deep breaths. Sometimes the receiver feels like they're being flattened here. There's a little resistance. The more that they can breathe and almost float me up and down, then the more they'll be able to let go. If she wants a little bit more weight, I have the option to put my arms up overhead. It just raises my center of gravity a little. Makes it a little bit heavier. Slowly. Come back up. Always offer something soft after that. In general, I'll let the receiver just hang out there for as long as they want, and then I'll say, when you're ready, go ahead and just slowly roll back up. And go ahead and fold your legs back into the asana. So next one, the seated spinal rotation twist. Okay. Another really wonderful one. And I'm going to ask Val to bring her hand behind her neck. Behind her neck. Okay. The elbows nice and wide. Okay, so this one takes a little finesse. We practice with each other today. Very important for me to have good balance. So I'm looking for a couple things here. First, I'm looking for the position, the handles for my hands. So one hand is going to be on the front. I'm coming over the top to the front. And I'm looking for that soft contour on the front of the deltoid, just like when we had them laying down in the spinal twist, we found that soft contour. Not the boob. Okay, I've seen somebody do that. Not the boob on the front of the shoulder, but also not the arm, because if I pull on her arm, then I start to create this discomfort here. Okay, right on that soft contour. The hand that's on the back, and if you want to, will you just twist yourself a little bit so you can see? The hand that's on the back is going to be right on the shoulder blade, right? So there's a nice, real nice handle here on the shoulder blade, again, where I can catch the heel of my hand. You see how I can push her almost without even grabbing, right, from that shoulder blade, okay? So, one hand on the front of the deltoid, other hand on the shoulder blade. And that's gonna let me